Shalom, my name is Yehoshua Ya'acov from Jerusalem. This video is to speak to the identity that the web seems to have applied to my work. Okay, so I've come to be known as the man in Jerusalem. Everybody says they write emails and references and they talk to one another and say the man in Jerusalem said. So this video is really about what the man in Jerusalem said. I'm the man in Jerusalem that they're talking about. And again, my name is Yehoshua Ya'acov. I'm a didactic scientist. That's a fancy word. Didactic is simply self-educated, self-trained. I was a college dropout 22 years ago. It was Michael O'Donnell, and after a series of 3 dreams, punctuated by 9 months in between each of the dreams, a dream, 9 months, another dream, 9 months, and a third dream. Without going into the particulars of those dreams, I went to my blessed Rebbe, at the time Natan Zuber of blessed memory. That's some 23 years ago, and he said, "You're going up to Jerusalem." So here I am, and I've worked for the boss in Shemaim. That's Kodesh Baruch Hu, the God of the cosmos, ever since, and he's an equal opportunity employer. Anyway, the pay is great and the benefits are fantastic. Okay, so let's and thank God. Now, so the man from Jerusalem is the name of this video. So what does the man from Jerusalem say? There is the little noticed phenomenon globally that the local reality has collapsed, and it began in the Soviet Union, the collapse of its communism. It followed the next year in 1992 with the collapse of the communism in the Yugoslav Republic, and in 1995 with the murder of Rabin. We had the collapse of the local realities. The question is, communism was the local reality that collapsed in Russia and Yugoslavia. When the local reality collapsed in Israel with Zionism, there's a lot of denial and spin sense. Well, that's what happened. And there was the collapse of the local reality in Baghdad and a lot of other places. 9/11 brought the collapse in America of what is now clearly a system, a capitalist system, and based upon a democracy that hasn't delivered the baby, because as Obama has touched the resident note in the campaign, is the extreme bias of Wall Street over Main Street, and all of the particulars that confirm that bias. Okay, so what does the man from Jerusalem say? He says the collapse of the local reality means the end of man and mankind's exile. Is that what I say? Since I'm a young man, I've been able to receive and discern what the creator of creation is saying, and that's called in our tradition in Hebrew, Ruach HaKodesh. There's no Ruach HaKodesh until there's redemption of Mashiach. Well, the collapse of the local reality in fact means the end of exile. The exile of what? The exile of man and mankind. So in physics, when you have the collapse of the local reality, you're in the quantum reality. Not quite. When we deny the collapse of the local reality, we're blocking the ascent of man to inhabit the quantum reality, which is redemption. That's where we are. So the man from Jerusalem says the first thing we got to do, folks, in Israel, in Klal Yisrael, and in the world, and in that order I might add, is end the denial. And that applies also to America. Now that's the context of all of the global change that is occurring. And there's much more to come. In more particular terms, in relation to the presidential campaign, the economy is the central issue, and what is needed is no more band-aids, no more fiscal or monetary stimulations, manipulations, policies, eclectic spends. What we need is a fundamental change. And being an American citizen, and having 3 adults, children that are raising their families in America, I have every right, in fact, responsibility to say the things that I'm saying. So let's particularize them. The presidential, the coronation of the nomination for Barak is pretty clear. But the fact is, we have to get beyond the coronation. We have to get to the presidential campaign, and let's even be so bold as to say that the probability is pretty high that he's going to be elected. The question is, what is the program? What is the national policy that the DNC, the Democratic Convention in Denver, and its platform committee is going to offer to the presidential candidate, namely Mr. Obama? And that is the new economic paradigm. So the question is, he's elected, and now he hits the ground running on day one. The question is, what is going to be the new U.S. policy? It is going to be to make the new economic paradigm national policy in America, and to develop and implement it, which will retool, retrain, or educate the entire workforce of America with a project of such scale and sophistication greater than the Hoover Dam, involving perhaps 4 to 5 trillion in that order of magnitude of supply side investment. And it will re-educate and retrain from the end of year one of the project. It will be providing domestic content employment to tens of thousands of Americans running through years 11 and 12 until there is full employment. And when we say full employment, we mean 000 on an index, a labor index, restructured, because the structurally unemployed will not be included. Those who are employable, seeking employment, retraining, etc., they will all be employed. And those who are never a part of the workforce will not be counted anymore. But we won't go into the technicalities of econometrics and the indices by which we measure economy. The old model, they're all based upon the history, and they're antiquated. They have to be changed. But okay, having said that, so let's get to the benefit side. What is the result of making such a massive investment? It is that over 2 decades, the gross domestic product of America will triple. It will go from 10 trillion to over 30 trillion and make America the most competitive economy in the world. But it's going to take 4 to 5 trillion of investment, you said. You're sure that's right. But 60% of that is going to come from America's partners, the G9, and 40% from Americans. And the debt service and amortizing with the present 9 trillion, the national debt bell curve will peak out in around years 11 and 12 and descend through years 18, 19, and 20, when the entire national debt will be paid up. There will be absolutely full employment, no national debt, no Social Security debt. There will be no trade deficit. The dollar will have tripled by years 18, 19, and 20. There are variables at work. It will have doubled by years 11 and 12. This is a win-win situation, folks. This is what we are talking about, and this is what the man from Jerusalem says about the particular program and policies that have to be undertaken in America. Now, the man from Jerusalem has one more thing to say. Folks, whether you like it or not, ready or not, redemption is next. The local reality has collapsed globally, and it means irreversibly, the end of man and mankind's exile. And redemption is not an option. And when we understand and we stop the denial, we next begin to move from the behavioral man's logarithm of exile, which is anger, denial, negotiation, and acceptance, to awakening, atonement, restoration, and healing as we deconstruct ground zero, deprogram the mind of exile, restore our authentic self, and heal from the damage and injury of exile. I'm Harav Yehoshua Ya'acov. That's what the man from Jerusalem says. And I thank you for listening, and I wish you kabel b'shilatet. That's the Hebrew for the blessing in English is receiving to give. Receiving what? Receiving the real you, the authentic you. To give what? The authentic you to you and to your family and to your community and to your nation. Thank you for listening. I'm Yehoshua Ya'acov.